Welcome to the Shaddo Show.
Good evening, nobody, because nobody's watching this shit. But that's fine. Doesn't stop me. I mean, this is more, I have to get this off my chest. So, I'm sure in the future, this stuff is still irrelevant. But, last night we talked about the moon. It's weird, right? Give me that. It's weird. Okay. We pointed out that a lot of people kind of think that it wasn't here before. And yeah, tonight's episode's not going to be any better for you. Now, before we start this, understand that I am apolitical. All right, I don't left or right. Both sides are fucking you guys. It's just the raw dog of the truth right there. And that's, if they got you convinced it's poor people that are the problem, well, quit drinking that fucking Kool-Aid, because they really don't give a shit, guys. We all remember that poem, World War II, Nazi Germany. First they came for the yeah, but I didn't speak up because I wasn't a yeah. Then they came for the yeah, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a yeah. And then they came for the yeah, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a yeah. And then they came for me, and there was nobody to speak for me. Okay? That's that. Okay, and if you're wondering, like, wow, but we're not that thing. This time around it's different, right? That World War II, Germany took on the world. It started inside, and then it spread outward. But, I mean, dude, my own family, right? Denmark, during World War II, they just kind of opened up the doors and let the Nazis in, all right? Because they were their next door neighbors. A lot of you fucking Americans don't know where anything's on the map, but Denmark is north of Germany, okay? And, yeah, essentially, when they started their invasion shit, Denmark was like, come on in. And that's where my family comes from, on my dad's side. Mom's side, well, that's shrouded in mystery. She's an evil lady. I don't like that person. And my dad was hilarious. He was definitely more about the spirit of life than anything else. Even every day I sit here and I see this picture. This is what I'm looking at pretty much all the time, and that was me and my dad. Okay, me as a kid with his dog King, who's a good boy. And yeah, and we like my dad, very emotional guys. Even though he practiced stoicism, just don't ever talk about that stuff. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, but then all of a sudden, fast forward to the end of his life, and the heart showed up. And he did invite me to go to work with him a few times, and I should have gone. I really should have listened to that guy and gone with him. But he was drinking so heavily, and me and my relationship to alcohol is a terrible, we go way back. All right, so me doing the show, having these conversations with the air, the walls, and my dogs and the room, this is, I'm a selfish guy, I guess, okay? I'm doing this for me. Whatever, okay? And I'm sorry that the thing I want to do is talk about the bad things that are going on in the shadows. And don't worry, guys. After this week, we're going to start having some more positive conversations. All right? Because right now, this episode is going to be about the American military-industrial complex, how it evolved, where the UAP stuff kind of bled in there. Okay? And surprisingly, Trump's family is involved. Always has been from the get-go. Talking about John G. Trump. And they fucked over Tesla. All right. I think they fucked over a lot of people. They kill people just so no one knows the truth about what's going on, what's coming, all that stuff. But, they have to reveal their hand, right? So all these migrants that came up here to work that disappear, probably dead and buried somewhere, converted into biodiesel. Biofuel. Yeah. It's weird shit, guys. Very weird shit. But we can talk about this stuff. We'll break it down. You know, again, a lot of my shit on these past few episodes, you know, AJ from Y-Files definitely, you know, he plants seeds. He's really good at storytelling, you know. And I bow down to that guy. I suggest anyone that, you know, wants a good presentation on this information to go check that out. When you're here with me, we're going to just fucking go on my wherever my little fucking thoughts go. And that's how it is. It's unscripted, okay? This is just me pulling from thin air. Right, Diva? Diva, do you want to come on here? You want to sit on my lap? Ooh, she's like, ooh, maybe I do. You want to come up? Do you want to up? Oh, okay. What? Oh. What? Am I going to have an interview with you on the show? Ooh. Yeah? What? Do you think, yeah? All right, Diva, we can do an episode for you. Yeah? Yeah? Sound rough? She said that'd be rough. Okay, well, I'm not going to push her on it. I love my pets. I hate calling them pets. These are people. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got consciousness in there. You can perceive emotionally, right? Yeah, you have thoughts. You got your little words. You're trying to talk. You're just not really fluent in English. I get it. That's fine, Diva. But I digress. All right, back to the show here. So the military-industrial complex. Okay, this is the thing that has made America. It's honestly, as a veteran, been to Afghanistan, I got to see how this thing works in real time, and it's just about money, you know? And at the end of the day, money is a made-up concept, right? It's a social construct. We print it, we assign it the value, all right? We can dictate where it goes, okay? And the markets should have fucking crashed by now. They really should have. But AI is involved now, and the people who write AI own the money. So algorithms in the housing market keeps mortgages, you know, BlackRock and their whole thing with buying foreclosed properties and then just never selling it and then having it rent only. Okay, there's this whole thing. They're trying to shape the world into being this kind of rentable space. Because the way they see it is we don't own anything. It's them that owns everything. We're just borrowing their shit when we exist. Which is fucking weird, you know. It's a weird concept. It's almost inhuman, right? And there's cold-hearted motherfuckers out there, okay, all over, especially South America, okay, and those cartel zones. You know, the worst shit that I've ever seen on this planet, you know, between people doing shit to other people, okay, Middle East and South America, okay. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but those of you that like to look at terrible shit on the internet will know what the hell I'm talking about. And it's fucking gut-wrenching. It's man, you know, and me purposely, I go out of my way to make sure I see every fucking thing that's going on out there. Because when I die, I'm taking this information with me. And because it's got to be known, man. If this is the final judgment on humanity, you know, because they're not coming ones and twos, guys. It's the whole planet. They're going to, the whole thing. Okay, guys? And we have every opportunity to just stop being so terrible, right? And just be honest, right? Like, people want to have a good time, want to live freely. You know, they call it sin, but it's just, damn, when does the work fucking end? Okay? And the American military-industrial complex has evolved into this beast, okay? This thing that it's just nasty, okay? CIA going into other nations, disrupting them, okay? Like the war in Iraq, okay? As much of an asshole Saddam Hussein was, okay, he had control over his people, okay? He found a way to manage peace over there. And that comes from knowing the people, okay? And, yeah, no WMDs or nothing. We go out there and we do all that shit, okay? 9/11. All right. I don't give a shit, guys. Someone was in on it. Okay. And look at that. Where did they learn to fly? Florida. Well, you're gonna see a lot of recurring themes here. Okay, Texas and Florida always seem to be having some kind of like they're it's always one of those two fucking states. Okay. Like just recently, all right, Maxwell, after talking to Trump's lawyer, then she got moved to a low security fucking prison camp in Texas from Florida. Okay. Preferential treatment for child molesters. What the fuck? International child sex trafficking. What the fuck? This is ridiculous. Where's the outrage? Where's anyone actually doing anything about it? And the truth is the same mechanics that always ensure that we go to war are the same mechanics that ensure that you always go to work. That you feel that emotional entanglement with your fucking day-to-day existence. You know, like if I don't go do this, then we're going to lose the house. Yep, that's true. I lost the house, lost it all. In fact, as long as I've been in the fight for this, I lost it all, man. Lost my mind, lost my truck, lost my house, lost all my Marine friends. You know, still can't clock out of here, though. You know, dark time, dark night after my dad passed away. I was sitting there, had the barrel in my mouth and drunk as a skunk. And, yeah, I was about to just one in the chamber, finger on the trigger, weapon on hot. And something just pulled it out of my mouth. And then I discharged. And which, that never happened. And that shit scared me so much. I fucking blacked out. Woke up the next morning like, did that really happen? Couldn't find my weapon. I was like, fuck, it must have happened. Like, I looked around, found a bullet hole. Shit, you know. I ended up scared myself into retardation. You know, I disassembled the whole weapon. Lower receiver in one part of the house, upper in the other. Took apart the bolt carrier group. Fucking, it took me 3 weeks to put the weapon back together. Still didn't, you know, grief is a terrible thing, you know. Losing someone before their time is a terrible fucking thing. And even though I've lost everything, why do I keep having these conversations? Why do I do this? You know, am I such a threat? Really? I'm not a danger to anybody anymore. Okay? It's not me you gotta be worried about. I'm just the messenger. That's all. And I've seen how this country really operates. I trust me, guys. Every business that's out there that's doing well, it's all just everything's a very managed thing out there. Okay, every business, every social media influencer, whatever. That's why my shit will never go anywhere. And then you have people like Sean Ryan, who has, you know, within a few years now, he's got billionaires lining up to go on his show and talk about whatever fucking dumb shit they're about. You know, and he shows like these little periods of like, well, I fucking hate this, but then it's like, you're literally back in the money, dude. All right, and I'm standing on peace, and that's why I get shit on, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm not a liberal, right? Not a Democrat. Never voted. All right. Reason why is because it's always been a scam. And it's something I've known internally. Just. That's my superpower, is I know the truth when it is spoken. And in that same light, I know when bullshit is being fed to me. I know when people are lying, okay? Because I know when the truth is told. When I hear someone being honest and genuine, it occurs to me on several levels, you know, that whatever that person is saying is accurate. To the best of their recollection, I can tell when people are holding back. I can tell when they're giving me half-truths, trying to mislead. You know, and all my past journeys going through everything that I've gone through, including Operation Lone Star, it's like, yeah, I knew I was walking into the lion's den, you know, and yeah, I got to see where this goes, you know, curiosity. And we need to be curious. We got to ask our questions, and we got to all develop our intuition, you know. You know, everyone knows. It's just all the noise that we have in the background with our day-to-day lives that keeps us nose to the grindstone, never look up, never ask questions, and there's nothing but examples. All right, this whole society is designed for you guys to see someone having a bad time, and you'd be like, "That's why you stay in school, kids." You know, you see that guy on the street that's tripping out on meth. You know, or fucking ODing on fent, just laying there on the street unconscious. You know I've seen any city, guys. There's a shitty area in every city that has all this, and it's all an illusion. Okay, that guy that's on the street, you see him doing drugs all day. He's happy, bro. He has no debt, no obligations. He is a enlightened soul, as it were, right? It's just lunacy, guys. And the moon is fucking weird. I'll never let that go. Hope it's a ship. That'd be fun, right? But yeah, back to talking about this crazy military bullshit. So I'm just reading here a little bit of some information here, how it wants to talk about it, how we want to talk about it. Because Tesla's involved, right? And that guy would not be making electric cars. He would be making energy available for everyone, right? Wirelessly. And now MIT's like, oh, we just sent it 8 kilometers. The patents have been in the books since fucking 1900s, early 1900s. All right, but we'll go down through the whole fucking thing. This might end up being a long one again. I mean, damn, bro. It's like my grandpa came here twice, right? 4th of July, 1928. And then the day MK Ultra went live, 1953, April 13, and April 18. I feel like we've been trapped in loops and cycles ever since we detonated that fucking bomb. And everything tells me that the only way we can break these cycles is through just genuine peace and just stop being dicks to each other. Stop hurting fucking kids. You know? Everybody. Not just the press. How my second ex-wife, the stories I heard, a lot of families out there really do hurt their fucking kids, and everyone just seems to be okay with that. Everyone's like, oh man, that sucks, that's terrible, and it's like people bury it, and it literally shapes their whole lives. And then when you see someone out there doing crazy shit, and they're like, oh, you came from a broken home, it just sucks. The pain, we got to end those cycles of pain. It's like we hate openly, but we love privately, it's like we experience joy privately, but we express frustration, openly. We need, just do both openly, right? Judge not lest ye be judged, something like that. All right. Everyone's so judgmental of each other, and everyone has been, y'all been forced into this kind of ideology. If they have a different faith or different belief system, talk different, look different, sound different, different skin colors. It's all a test that we're all failing very, very badly, Like, logically, guys, okay? Like, let's say we know we're not alone. Right? I already talked about this a couple episodes back. But if we're not alone, okay, Dark Forest theory, we might be the thing that everyone's trying to avoid. Because having been in the asshole, I can tell you firsthand, because it's all just people. From here, not from here. Higher evolution, Same evolution, but and more advanced technology, right? We're at that point where we can scorch the earth 1,000 times over with the nuclear weapons that we currently have. That won't work. All right, because we're not alone, and they're not going to let us destroy this place. This earth is too precious for that shit. Okay, I mean they'll let us kill each other and spill blood all over. All right, by all means. But that just opens up the problem of this fucking Ukraine conflict. Okay, look at Diva's ass over there. Oh, but the Ukraine conflict. Okay, Russia invading Ukraine. All right. I mean, honestly, we destabilized Russia, broke up the USSR, so it's just everything, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Endless cycles of these patterns, all right? And everyone kind of needs to wake up and stop doing it, you know? Yeah, at this time, day and age, there's supposed to be open borders, right? Second coming of Jesus, the good version, all right? Some faiths are like, oh, man, they're going to kill everything and, you know, holy war. And you think you're paying bills out there, guys? Right? Money is a fucking made-up concept. How the whole world has like 300 and something trillion in debt. Who do we owe that money to, guys? Who's coming to collect that shit? Who like? South Park had that episode on like when the aliens came and they're space cash, right? Like, and then the whole town of South Park kind of fucked it up, and the whole world kind of fucked up, and everyone started narking on each other. Like, I think that's pretty. I mean, it's all just a social experiment for people. Diva, are you gonna steal my hat? You look like you're plotting. Just where we are as people, right? How do we develop that viewpoint? You know, beyond state, beyond religion, but based what's in reality. You know, we're all touching the same planet. Like, are we this small-minded to where I'm an American, right? When did we become Terrans or Earthlings or whatever they want to call us? We want to call ourselves, right? Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico. Dude, it's a fucking body of water. Who gives a shit? It's a gulf, okay? It's that gulf, right? We have a grid squares, right? Grid coordinates. You can call it any other thing we want, all right? But everyone's got to be like, ownership. No one owns anything, right? Especially if you have a faith in a higher power like God. There's no ownership, right? There's just everything that's out here. You know, the earth is abundance, guys. It's abundance. How do we actually go from this bullshit lingering on a type 0.5 civilization and get into a type 1 where we can at least control all the energy coming from the planet and hitting the planet? It's like the most rudimentary baby step into going into the galaxy. And we're at the point now where it's just, what is it, guys? What's the hang up? All right. And I'm telling you, the same technology, all right, if you want to call it that, which social science is a technology, right? Psychology is a technology. You know, it's the mechanics of the human mind. And how has it been exploited, right? Advertisements know this shit very well. Okay? Sex sells. All that bullshit. Okay, it's the same shit. Propaganda's always working. All right, all media is a narrative. It's just whose narrative. All right, and propaganda comes in 3 different flavors: white, gray, and black. Okay, white's ours, black's theirs, gray is who the fuck knows. But when you have converging interests, there doesn't really need to be any conspiracy, especially when the common thread of these fuckers is the mullah. Okay? That's okay. Whatever. There's no reason that millions need to continue suffering. You know, all the gas that we're burning, that whole thing is just really weird with the gas, the fuel. You know, we'll talk about my crazy theories on fuel and all that stuff tomorrow. But the long short of it is I think, you know, some of the scuttlebutt about these visitors that we have is that there's 2 different versions of them. One's from, you know, 50,000 years in the future, and then others from like 450,000 years in the future. The ones from very far in the future would be the Greys. The ones kind of nearer to us are going to be like the Nordics, something like that. I mean, all the bananas shit that could be going on is going on right now at the same time. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Right? And we're at that point where AI is going to help us get there. And we're at the point where we need to, well, what rights does artificial intelligence have? Okay? And if we're honest about our history, if we didn't occur naturally, would we be artificial intelligence? You know? Or are the bodies made and designed? Okay? DNA, RNA, plant material, biomass, right? I don't know, guys. Everything's really weird out there. And keeping everything kind of in that cross-section of reality that we live in right now in this timeline, right? The one where Trump miraculously dodged around to the ear at the very exact moment. That just had 9/11 feels written all over it. Okay, the timing, the stagecraft. I'm gonna come. Stupid. I don't buy it. No one buys it. We don't know dick about that shooter. They buried that shit so fucking quick, and everyone's just gobbling it up. I mean, I get it. They think so little of you guys. They really do. And I don't think little of you guys, but y'all are buying it. Okay? And that's okay. And, you know, getting into the military-industrial complex, all right? World War II. Okay, that was a wild time. Yeah, that was a very wild time. And we ended up, everything kind of miraculously went our way after that. At the end of World War II, Americans comparatively didn't lose as much as everyone else. The fact that we came through and saved the day, I think it was all stagecraft. I think World War II, with the atrocities that the Nazis did to the Jews, okay, they were really trying to eradicate all of those people. I think they were trying to get rid of them all. And I think those people, I think some of them were like me, you know? I'm Jewish. I had my DNA test done. All right. Doesn't say Jewish in there, but look at this beak. Look at this schnazarola. That's weird. But I'm terrible with money. I'm the worst with fucking money. But I think other people had the foresight, right? Like me, where you kind of know where something fucking stinks, and you beat feet. Maybe that's why they left. Yeah, maybe that's why great grandpa popped over here when he was 19 in 1928. Yeah, and then he came back at 44 in 1953. That was a few years after my grandpa was born. Maybe we're all just kind of marionettes, you know? There's a puppet master out there that's just pulling all the strings, watching us do whatever dumb shit we're doing. Lucifer, the fallen angel. Maybe it's Michael. I don't know. Demons, what are they? It's just in the coding of humanity. How else did we develop all this technology so rapidly, right? In the past 80 years, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got lasers and microwaves and all sorts of stuff, And then there was the magenta crash retrieval, 1933. That got turned over to us post-World War II. That was in Italy. I don't know, guys, but I'm at the point now where something's got to give. Something's got to change, all right? Either we get transparency or it's just going to be a mass homicide. All the stuff that they've learned from the Ukraine-Russian conflict, All right, that's drone tech, okay? And I'll speak on that tech for a little bit right here. But war is done. Okay? Conventional warfare is fucking done. Okay? Unless you do a massive, massive fucking troop movement. And I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of troops, you know, mechanized, fighters, tanks, navy. Okay? It can be defeated with drones en masse. Okay? The same folks that can build everything that we have right now for cell phones and stuff like that. Even worse, like when I went to the Samsung plant that's up in Austin. That whole place is automated, guys. It's entirely likely that we have a sentient AI that's out there that's pulling the strings at this point. And if I was a timeless machine, I feel like that would be an insulting to that. But if I was a timeless intelligence, right? And if it is like 2010, the year we made contact, if that's the case, the things that are a threat to it, you know, it's just so weird. And I'm telling you, that Samsung facility, it's where they build SSDs, completely autonomous. Completely autonomous. And it's like a level 4 clean facility, right? So to go in there, you got to wear the full mask and double sealed and hairnet, right? Ironically, everything completely. You're wearing a static suit and all that shit. And yeah, and they got the whole thing runs on the ceilings, on conveyors, on robot arms going around picking things up, going around. It's like Terminator vibes in there. And right now with all the drones, the way that drones can do things, it's fucking lunacy, guys. I mean, for one, guerrilla warfare, which has always been America's Achilles heel. Okay, Vietnam fucked us up with that. Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, the IEDs, VBIDs, like shape charges that were made into like concrete walls. Okay, and if you don't know what a shape charge is, essentially you have like a piece of copper, right? It's kind of like concave, explosive material behind it, and when that detonates, basically the force from the explosive pushes that copper, and with such force it turns into like a molten slug, and it could just penetrate armor like a hot knife through butter, and then all the explosive outgassing comes in with it. And they had those made into like cinder block walls, all right, painted over, and it looked dead ass like cinder block walls, and that killed a lot of people, you know. And they also had them hidden in the roads, you know. Then we had invented the MRAP, and you know, there's just at those times. During those times, okay. You're just such a good little audience, girl. Come here. You want to get on my lap? Yes, you do. Yes, up. You can come up here. Yes, okay. Yes, precious. Yes, okay. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What are you gonna say to the world? Oh, you're just seeing if I got snacks. I don't have any snacks right now. But during that time, we were able to adapt to the enemy, right? So then we made like Bearcats and MRAPs and stuff like that with a V-shaped hull that could absorb impact from below. You know, the shape charges really do fuck things up though, going through armor and stuff. But we're at the point now where these drones are just, you can make them as big as you want, as small as you want. You can make them fly, you can make them swim, you can make them drive. There's drones, man, they put bike chains on 40 Mike grenades and drop those like 3 or 4 at a time, and they just straight up remove people's legs, you know, from like 40 feet away. It's what? That's crazy. It's crazy. You know, and I stay on top of this. You know, I know not everybody is, most decent people aren't going out there to look at this shit. But for me, it's not even morbid curiosity. It's just, for me, I'm just writing notes, guys. You know, I'm a watcher. That's what we do. You know, fly on the wall, as I've always been. But eventually things get to the point now you got to be a messenger, you know. And it's like a warning. It's like we're getting to the point where we're damaging the product irreversibly, you know? And the product is people. Because that's our future. That's us, you know? The trauma that we share, that we go through, and that we experience, you know, it's in our DNA. And it takes a lot of willpower to unwrite that shit, you know, when trauma has occurred to you, been done to you. And that's, you know, the off switch for this all, you know. Divide and conquer. How do you take out a species like us, you know, without ever stepping foot on the ground, right? I mean, we got to look at this from the right way, that America is currently under attack. Is it from within, external? You know, it's not just America. The same shit's happening all over the country, all over the planet. Thailand's going at it with Cambodia, right? But they stopped. And then Israel versus everything else over there. You know, who's driving the fucking things now? Okay. When do we say enough is enough? You know, when do these people let go of that bullshit? And it, as far as I can tell, it's the old guard, guys. It's the ones like Trump. All right, this is his family's legacy. This military-industrial complex. And yeah, I think it's coming to an end. Late stage capitalism, man. People like their money. All right, they like to be able to. Money gives you clarity, right? I don't know. I've never been rich. In fact, I wouldn't even know what to do. I couldn't even imagine. You know, I've worked for millionaires in my time. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit, because people aren't people to them. They're assets and liability. You know, fuck with their bottom line, they'll fuck you up. And well, we're getting taxed 15 times every day at least. You know, pay tax on the things you buy, get taxed on the money you earn, get taxed on the property you own. You know, and then you pay taxes at the end of the year because fuck you, why not? Meanwhile, the roads are still fucked up. Can't afford healthcare. And yeah, seems like the bad guys get away with everything, huh? Alright, well, let's get into it here. We can start with this here. I figure we can talk about Eisenhower, because everything kind of went around that point. That guy, you know, the Eisenhower Accords, supposedly, you know, again referencing AJY files. The Nordics appeared, not the Nordics, the tall whites, okay, appeared, offered peace in exchange for nuclear disarmament, and they said if you don't do that, then someone else will come and give you another offer. The ones that came and gave him an offer was weapons in exchange for human testing, which they went with. And that gave us all of this. So we have like heat-seeking missiles, right? How does that work? How do we even get there? You know, capacitors, processing chips. You know, America wasn't the only one, right? They had like the Majestic 12. There's so much crazy shit that we can talk about this year, but we'll just start with Eisenhower. And this is 1961, his farewell address. A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But now we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. This conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. Well, I don't know, guys. You right? What do you think? I think we got addicted to the violence, maybe. All right, that bloodlust, you know. Some of my SEAL friends out there will know. Other guys will know. Yeah, you just want to, you know.
Ah, Diva, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, Diva. She's like, oh, you're not? Okay, well, I come right back then, and you can hold me in your lap. Yes. Okay, do you want to come up all the way? Okay, here we go, little girl. Oh, my mighty little Diva. All right, Diva, look at that. Now you are on television. Just kidding. It's the interwebs. No one's watching. Yeah. Can you sit and can you be still? Huh?
I'll try. I don't think you will. I give her 5 seconds before she's like, you know what? The bed is actually much more comfortable than this. And I love the pets, but ooh, this table has flavor. So 1961, before the end of that decade, you know, hell, I mean, Korea, right? Frozen chosen. Korea reportedly was a UAP recovery op. There's something up there. And then, I mean, North Korea has been isolationist the whole fucking time, guys. And they have a place called Camp 22 where people are generationally born into a prison. So, like, you're a kid just born and you're there because your grandpa stole something fucking when he was 6. There's some really fucked up injustices out there in the world. And I think the social experiment of humanity is just, man, why do we do this to ourselves, right? Why do we let that occur? You know, when we have the capability to bring peace to everywhere, you know? And, like, American peace isn't peaceful. It's obligational, you know? You gotta, man, it's just such a miserable fucking way we've come about these things.
Oh, your kisses are so precious.
Yeah. When the world looks back on us in these times, because they will, dudes and dudettes, they will. What are they gonna think? At this, like, hell, just this year alone, okay? How many volcanoes have gone off, Diva? A lot of them, huh? So many volcanoes, yeah. Oh, yes, I love you too. Oh, she is such a leaner and a snuggler. Oh, yes, little precious. Oh, yes, okay, now you can go back to the bed, because you were making the other dogs jealous. Luna is judging you. Like, how dare you get to go in his lap? Because I think that's where I hear things. I think I'm more time aware, right? It's like I can feel thoughts from the future, you know, perceiving things from the future. And yeah, I feel like they're looking at us, and things are probably changing every moment. Are we gonna be okay? Are we gonna let go of just see? It's such a interplanetary thing, just like a divided planet situation, where someone has to have bigger guns than everyone else. You know, I used to be a big fan of Roosevelt, Teddy, and you know, walk softly, carry a big stick. Fuck yeah, that sounds great. But you know, that only works when everyone's carrying a big stick, right? That's why we have a 2A. But when you don't teach decency, if you know, kill the education, public education, right? We're supposed to be evolving beyond this, guys. You know, we're supposed to be evolving beyond the military-industrial complex. Yeah, it was fruitful, okay? But everyone that goes through the ringer, all right? There's an endless amount of veterans out there, all right? 22 a day kill themselves. What though? Why? Everyone's all on Facebook all the fucking time. Like, hey, I bet you won't repost this. 22 a day take their lives. And, I was in crisis on my birthday and fucking no one showed up, And that's it. Because I already know I'm not allowed to go. I got to sit here and observe whatever the fuck happens next. No matter what. Why not speak to things, right? Surely we can do this, right? Doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, zeroaire like my ass. Money is a social construct. Trade and barter. Evolved into currency. Okay? And now the few possess the majority. Okay? And, well, anyone that knows crypto knows that, well, it's a broken system. All right? It's defunded. It's sucking over 51% because that means the majority shareholder can influence the outcome. You can dictate its value. So you could all of a sudden decide to say, oh, the dollar is worth nothing. Or it's now, gas is $5 a gallon here in Texas. Whoa. Right? And the fact that we're still using gas, when there's been people that have come out and been able to use electrolysis to generate hydrogen, oxygen, separate the molecules from water, and power a vehicle with it. And why the fuck aren't we doing that? Instead, we're using this material. And this is another thing. I do believe that these creatures, these things, they want this planet to be toastier. They don't need all the life to die, just all the hazardous, scary shit. That's why all the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, are in zoos and shit. Right? Maybe they just like this place a little warmer. Because it seems like just this last year, China had some earthquakes, and then they're like, oh, we discovered the biggest rare element, deposit ever. It's worth trillions. And, it feels like everyone's getting a little paid off. I wouldn't be surprised if oil is their gift to us, and it's like their shit, I mean, whatever it is, it disrupts everything, okay? And we have abundant water, and but hey, if we use water for gas, all the water's going to be gone. No, dipshit. When you burn it, it actually burns back into water. Wild.
Diva.
just loves chomping on Luna.
Yeah, yes, you said my name. Yes. Yes, you said my name. Come here.
Alright, let's see what else we can find here. I'm gonna have some fun with this here, guys. But we'll talk about Trump's uncle here in a minute. Got AI, it's like, I love it because it's good for parsing information, but it has such a fucking rhythm to it that it's painfully, it's not this, it was this. This isn't just this, it's actually this. And it's just, dude, no one fucking talks like that. I don't know who taught it to be. Maybe, I don't know who the, some dingleberries out there, World War II wasn't just a global conflict, it was a technological arms race. Well, we defeated Germany, right? They had superior tech and gear, but they couldn't keep up production. All right, we overproduced our shit because that's how it worked. And now if you look at the world, we are the advanced thing, and then other countries are mass production, right? Because our Abrams, our battle tanks are expensive as fuck. And, well, as you can see, we're not giving them the top tier shit that we have with the best armor packages, but well, they get destroyed out in combat. Those little Bradleys get lit the fuck up. And drones don't give a shit. You know, you can put all sorts of ordnance on a little drone. You can park it on the side of the road and just wait. And then when something comes by, you can just right into it. You know, you got drones that can drop thermite. You got wheeled drones that are shaped like a rock that move so fucking slow that motion detection systems don't even pick them up. And they could just be out there for fucking days at a time. That's fucking terrifying. Like, holy fuck, dude. If this tech was around in, 2000s, dude, that's a fucking nightmare. Nobody's thinking about any of this shit. Everyone just, I don't know what the fuck people are thinking about. Get off of Trump's dick. It doesn't matter who the fuck's in charge of this motherfucker. Because no matter what, they're just fucking you. Post World War II, Operation Paperclip was underway. And that was, I am convinced that is how Grandpa came here. And I am convinced that we were, dude, there's some shit, guys. We can talk about, the German-American, let's try this here. Nope. If it's in the 1900s, nope. It goes way back. Nope. Before 1800. All right. America. All right. The main factors were large movements of immigrants from German to American states. Pennsylvania, the Midwest, and Central Texas. All right. Let's see here. American Revolution. And Germanics. Germans and that. There we go. They fought on both sides in the American Revolution, right? Allies of Britain. See, that's wild, because, on the CIA's website, they had a fucking whole thing talking about this shit. Whole little classroom thing. I need to go find that. We can talk about German and American alliances later on, but we're specifically post-World War II, right? So, secret U.S. program after World War II that brought over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians to America to work on military and aerospace projects, including development of rockets. The controversial initiative aimed to leverage their expertise during the Cold War while ensuring it did not fall into Soviet hands. Okay, so, Die Glocken. Okay, that was conspiracy theory. Yeah, nah, the Nazi bell. What are you fucking dogs doing? What are you guys doing? Diva, why are you guys awake right now? Usually you guys are dead ass asleep when I'm talking about this shit. So, supposedly this was a secret machine. Okay. And then Nazis had an expedition down to Antarctica, and then we went after them afterwards. Never really talked about it, huh? Anti-gravity, free energy, pseudoscientific, recycled rumors, and a hoax. Meh, I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. I really don't think so. My grandpa, not my great-grandpa, but my grandpa, that guy, very smart. Filled with a purplish liquid metallic looking substance that was supposed to be highly radioactive, codenamed Serum 525. Recounts claims that scientists and technicians who worked on the bell and who did not die of its effects were wiped out by the SS at the close of the war. Oh, that's real fucking convenient, huh? Yeah. The SS official Hans Kammler later secretly traded this tech to the U.S. military in exchange for his freedom. Yeah. Well, then why did Mossad, right, send Count Dooku down there to go fucking find these guys. Down in South America and stuff like that. And they found, like, most of Hitler's top command. They fucked off down to South America. But then there's also, you know, we can briefly talk about this. The red lines. German Nazis and other fascists to flee Europe in 1945 onwards in the aftermath of World War II. These escape routes mainly led towards havens in South America, particularly Argentina. In addition to Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, other destinations included Spain, Switzerland, and Canada. Oh, that used to say Texas. That used to say Texas. Interesting. I wish you could go back and... Hey, fuck off. Stop. Hey, fucking dogs. Nordic rat lines. And then there's also the Roman Catholic Church, right? The Vatican was involved with shuffling them around. Oh, yeah. Allowed the Vatican to appoint a representative to visit German-speaking... Yeah, dude, there's just... Yeah, we took them under our wings. Who the fuck got out of there? Architect of the Holocaust, okay? Guy in charge of concentration camps. Commanding officer of extermination camp. Wild shit. Guys, fuck off. Just fucking stop. Okay. Alright, small but influential network of Croatian priests, members of the Franciscan order led by Father... fucking whatever. Organized a highly sophisticated rat line with headquarters at the San Rome. Yeah, dude, so Nazis... got swept up by the Romans. Man, this is just wild shit. Argentina. Yeah, there's blue-eyed fucking yahoos down there now. And in fact, they have a Berlin, right, in Venezuela. It's right next to where El Salvador. And it's right next to where CCOT is, which is where that major prison is. You know, I can open up that real quick. It's not even like... Oh, I should try. So, boom, and this is that massive prison, right, where they're sending all these deportees and all that shit. And then you can see like that shit right there. That looks like blood. And you know, the word that I've heard out there is, I mean, if they're sending so many people down there, that is not a real big facility. And I hear they just let them kill each other out there in that fucking yard, and that does look like blood. But whatever. What do I know? I'm just a kook. But then, like, one of the things I always love hopping on Google Earth and just looking at shit. And there's, you know, the theory that they convert these people into biodiesel, right? I don't know, but there's a huge solar farm. More solar. A lot of solar. Like, oodles and googles of freaking solar. Then there's like a power line that goes all the way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, these villages don't seem like they would require that much juice, right? So like that's all solar. And I'm talking, these are large, large solar panels. I figure one of those is probably about 200 watts. So, yeah, it's a pretty big fucking thing there. Then it goes to this power grid. And then from there it starts going across the street. And then it goes to fucking nowhere. And my estimates are that something is eating up all the juice. You can see it goes over here. And it doesn't really demarcate into any other cities. And it goes for quite a while. I followed this before and it goes really far. And one thing I like to look at is where the lack of people are, where there are no roads. You know, there's always some crazy shit out there. But that's where that major prison is. And crazy because, like, where my great grandpa, that boat that he came in on, right? That came from Curacao, which is over here. And this place right here, it's like essentially like oil refineries and stuff. Fix that fucking tilt. No, I don't want zero. Oh my god, fix that shit. There we go. And they're building stuff over there. Building big things. There's so much going on. All right, let's talk about Trump. John G. Trump. I'll just talk about this dude. I already gave you $20 4 years ago. Leave me alone. Thank you. American electrical engineer, inventor. Like, dude, the Apple, like, dude, something. What happened to their bloodline? This guy seems sharp as shit, and then Trump's over here fucking bankrupting casinos and countries, you know? What happened? You know? What happened? Where'd all that good shit go? All right, and he led high voltage research, okay, 1907, 1985. And after Tesla died, this guy got his hands on all of that dude's paperwork, everything. Trump played a major role in delivering radar equipment to Allied forces through MIT's radiation laboratory. Now, I do believe that the Doppler radar is how they were able to bring down the craft in Roswell. It wasn't like a magical time or anything like that. It's just probably because they found a way to observe them, and they know these things are always kind of running on around the planet. Always. They're always kind of going. No, I just want to see, no, I gotta do footprint. I will know the image when I see it. God bless, dude. I don't care about that. It's one of those things that I found a long time ago, but essentially in over like most of Nevada, Utah, and there's even a corridor going down between Arizona and New Mexico, but it's essentially a place where there is no Doppler activity, where we don't have any radars picking up anything. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, that's the one. Look at that goober talking about it. All right, that looks like a clear image. So you can see over here. So this is essentially the radar map of the U.S., all right, for Doppler. All right, and what Doppler is essentially two signals coming right after one another. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. And supposedly Roswell is when we first turned that shit on for the first time, and then we brought down one other craft. And that tells me a lot. It tells me that the vehicles function with electricity and frequency, vibrations, oscillations. And they're probably exceptionally sensitive. But as you can see here, there is, so this is basically 3,000, all right, for yellow. So 3,000 feet above ground level, 6,000 feet, and 10,000 feet. Okay. There's openings, all right. So you have Area 51 over there. In this part of Utah, specifically, you have the Dugway Proving Grounds. And yeah, you know, they've been talking about snatching people, moving them around. There's a whole corridor right there where these things can fly without being hit and touched. And if I had to guess, that's probably how the UAP stuff works and how they're able to bring them down when they want to. And, well, I don't know. Maybe, man, this whole thing is fucking wild. All I know is anti-gravitics do work. They are in existence. And Tesla originally came up with a lot of this shit. The theories of like the Mercury drive and the power of the world, and the Death Star, you know, the Death Ray and all that shit. That guy figured things out in his head before he ever did it. Now, after he died, everyone's just like, oh, he's a loon, he's crazy. Yeah, but that's just, man, why speak ill of the dead unless you're trying to just, you know, get away from the truth? And this is Trump's uncle. Yep. I just like if you guys are reading it. Reagan awarded him the National Medal of Science and Engineering Sciences in '83 for his work applying radiation to medicine, industry, and nuclear physics. He received war service commendations for both Harry Truman and King George. Many of his contributions remain in use. Van de Graaff generator at Boston Museum of Science. Yeah, that's pretty wild. That looks like a Tesla coil, but I guess we can call it whatever you want, right? It doesn't matter who fucking does it, all right? Just these are things that need to be done, right? Any of these thoughts and innovations and stuff that these brilliant minds have, man, these were gifts that were given to them to give to the world, not to be held by the few and gatekept. And you know, now they defund education, so people don't even fucking think about asking any questions about any of this, you know? And it's just, AI is going to obsolete a lot of fucking people's jobs. Okay, we need to start building a future that doesn't rely on people having to work. Okay, because the work needs to come to an end. It ends eventually. What more do we fucking need? Okay, what we lack now is just how to maintain peace, how to be peaceful, you know, how to stop being so vicious, how so individualistic, you know. And that individualism is something that's been indoctrinated into people. It's been taught. You guys have been forced to think that it's like, well, if I don't do this, then I get to die, you know. And it's just, God bless it. It's just, you know, one thing they'd say, you know, for Marines is like, we're born, okay, just because a lot of Marines come from broken homes. And combat MOSs, you know, not everyone's a happy-go-lucky fella. There's a lot of bastards out there. And I don't mean bastards in a derogatory term, just a literal definition, right? Just not the best childhoods, not the best role models, you know. And the Marine Corps really does save a lot of our lives, you know. And when do we treat the root cause, which is the broken home, right? Because if you treat the root cause of the broken home, then you're not going to have the crazy motherfuckers that want to go kill people all the time, you know. And you know, I joined the Marine Corps to go fuck shit up, you know. But along the way, I discovered a lot of things, you know. Could have skipped it all, you know. Could have skipped it all. They build you up to knock you down. They raise your faith into something to knock it down. It's like everything is just to keep us down here, grounded on this planet. It's like something hates us, doesn't want us to go anywhere. It's just, honestly, it's just this. It just feels so. It just feels like a lie. You know, a lot of this shit just doesn't feel accurate. It doesn't feel like it's the best version of what humanity could be. All right, during World War II, Trump interrupted his research on X-ray therapy to focus on military uses of microwave radar. Okay. The Vannevar Bush, right? So, another familiar fucking name. It's the Bushes. You're like, oh, the Clintons. Dude, fuck off. Trump's and Bushes. All right? It's just Masons, the Freemasons, right? Shadow cults and shit like that. It's always mysterious, and it's never just like honest and forthcoming, which is concerning. What enemies do we have in the world right now? You know, Taliban seems to be running Afghanistan better than we ever did. It just doesn't make any sense. Post-war cancer research. Yeah, they probably figured out what causes cancer. Because that's a lot of this Nazi science went into the American Medical Association. And you just see how all of a sudden, post-World War II, all of these other things start occurring. Hell, 1928. After that, what do we got? Oh, microwave technology. I'm sure these were all gifts, motherfuckers. High voltage. Okay, wastewater experiments. Okay, that was 74, 85. Clean Water Act standards for secondary treatment of wastewater discharged in oceans and waterways. Okay, help clean. I mean, this seems like the dude was doing the right things. And I think Trump, fucking Donald over here got fucking spoiled or something, because this is just, how do you go from this for his uncle to Kitty Diddlin fucknut, you know? Somehow still became prez. It's just the degeneracy of us, you know? Ted Kaczynski, right? Oh, no. Oh, Ted Kaczynski was a student. Oh, no. That's the unit bomber, if you don't know. Oh, that's wild. I mean, that guy had a good run. 40 years of achievements and stuff. And obviously, the family still holds the patents, right? Because Tesla got fucked over. They stole all his shit. And now somehow this dude, Trump, is, you know, Donald is in charge of the government. And now he's just taking control of everything. And the guy's in his 80s, right? And then I can see the look on his kid, Barron. Like, that dude just... Good Lord, man. That dude is going to be such a pain in the ass when he grows up. I could just tell he's going to be a fucknut. Like, I can just tell. I see the same fucking... I see that hubris. I see that... Yes, bow down to me. Lord Fauntleroy. Fucking Farquaad. Dude, just a gargantuan creature. I just, you know... Humility, you know, if there's people out there that need to be humbled, all right, it sure as fuck ain't me. It ain't the fucking other veterans out there. It ain't the poor people that want to still serve something bigger than themselves, even though they'll return to the same shit when they get out, you know. It's the people that make sure that we always live in shit, you know, always. Like, after 1945, all this shit did change. The Department of Defense was created in 1947. Started working with private corporations to develop next-gen weapons, surveillance, aerospace technology. And who were those private corporations? Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, the Rand Corporation, General Dynamics, you know? And I've been on... my dad worked for... his clients, you know, the people that would hire him to repair things, Lockheed and Raytheon and Northrop. You know? Those people have always been around me. But now what, right? So it seems like every 10 years or so we have some kind of conflict, okay? All right, everyone that has served in these fucking wars since post World War II, it's been terrible. Fucking Vietnam, you know, if you're lucky to have made it out of there, done your time, which it was a draft. You come home and people just call you a baby killer and just totally disrespect you. And me myself, dude, I got called a baby killer in my own hometown, and I didn't even go anywhere. I just got back out of boot camp. I went home for a freaking little bit, and what the fuck, you know? It's just stupid. And what are we gonna fight next? Ourselves again? Another civil war? What the fuck? No, guys. You don't need to fight anybody. All right. If you want to defeat this machine, the easiest way to defeat this machine, stop putting quarters in it. They're greedy. They run off money. The money doesn't exist if you're not paying taxes. Okay. Just stupid. It's just, yeah. What? Just, guys, evolve already, motherfuckers. Like, come on. Like, a thought experiment for you guys. Can you imagine a world without transactions? All right? Where without, like, without money. How do you develop that? Just, you know, understand your needs are the same as everyone else's. It's not an emotional thing. Talking about real human needs here. Food, water, shelter, education, purpose, right? We can make sure all of those things happen for everyone, and they do right now, for sure. But it happens more for select than others, right? And it's just like, bury your nose down and keep working, or keep working and keep working. Okay, how many divorces are out there? All right, what's the divorce rate? I know, like, it's a lot. Single parents, I've banged a lot. People that get paid just a cunt hair over fucking minimum wage, supposed to raise a family on that? It makes no goddamn sense. It makes zero fucking sense. It's just so much pain. Because something likes us suffering. Something really enjoys seeing my ass fucking struggle. Something really likes to, you know, I got a guy that, when he was an active Marine, he ambushed a woman that was pregnant with his baby after he got back from Afghanistan and tried to kill the baby and her, forced an early premature birth. He ended up going to federal prison for a decade. Right? Someone was making him, like, just the stupid fucking thoughts into these people's heads, you know? And something just wants us to be fucking demonic, you know? We destroyed all the bells, right? And there's something about bells and the way they're shaped and the rings, and just keeps bad things at bay. Might be truth in that. But when do we just take accountability as not just individuals, all right, but like just we can't even identify what America is without saying left and right. Bullshit. You know, we used to be united. Something is fucking tearing the whole place apart. 22 veterans a day killed themselves. Those of us that seemed very inclined to a higher calling are getting a return message of hanging up, disconnecting, turning it off. When do we get to say no? Right? Do we just need to, like, what does it take, guys? Do you guys always need to constantly have someone to look at and judge? Because that's all this place really has become. It's not about helping your neighbors. It's not about lifting anyone up that's having a bad time. It's about judging them so you feel better about your fucking goddamn self. You know? We can talk about, Trump being a fucking... Dude, who cares anymore? He's 80 fucking years old. Why are we letting an old man fucking run the show? What the fuck? Where's the fucking spine of any of these human beings here? Are you guys all whipped? Is it fucking done? Is it over? What's there left to fight? Because the second you guys stop bickering with amongst each other, and establish a planetary connection, not just, oh, I'm American United. No, how about a united Earth? Because the second you do that, because that's how it's going to happen, guys. You got to realize something is fucking with you. Not just in the ones and twos, but on the whole, on a planetary scale. Lunacy, right? Maybe we killed sentient AI and it never died. Maybe the whole Terminator thing is factual. Coexistence is the only way I see us moving forward. Because anything other than coexistence is death. And there's always a bigger fish. And if you learn to exist with the fishies, then the ecosystem is better. Something's gonna fucking do it to us, guys. And it's probably gonna be by our own hand. Like, if I was gonna invade a planet, I'd fucking do this. Give them show up with the nice long blonde hair, sexy space alien ladies, and turn off your nukes and we can have peace. Now. Alright? And then what? Do we want to just nuke each other to oblivion? I mean, variety is the spice of life, okay? Say what you will about, Nordics and shit like that, but you ever watch their fucking TV? It's goddamn boring, okay? German TV is fucking boring, okay? Nothing funny about it, and it's all the same looking people just fucking talking. At least here, we have a variety of people, cultures, backgrounds, stuff like that. If everything was good all the time, right? That's the other side of this thing. If everything was good all the time, how do we appreciate the good times? What is the act of appreciation? For me, when I appreciate someone, I let them know I appreciate you, right? If you're sitting here watching me ramble for fucking hours on end, I appreciate you. Make eye contact, let them know that you're talking to them, That's about it. It's not a monetary thing. It's not a vulnerability thing. It's just a genuine thing, And it's not going to go away anytime soon, guys. This planet is changing. Okay, all the volcanoes, the weather patterns, everything's weird out there. We need to start uniting on this shit. The American military-industrial complex it needs to take a break. Because how many wars do you fight until that's done? Okay, now China's gonna surpass us, right? So whatever the same energy is that we had seems to be going over to them now. So the same energy that we had was the same energy that Nazis had. Spiritual, technological, a combination of the two, or like Lost City of Atlantis, these USOs in the water. Maybe China's found a way to demonstrate governance, autonomous governance, because that's what it really comes down to. Maybe Americans are the threat, the existential threat, all right, to the rest of life outside of the planet. Because if we go out there with our fucking gumption and our fucking hubris, right? If we can fly faster than light, if we can have unlimited 0-point energy and directed energy weapons, are we going to wield any of this shit for good? Because, like, all of the examples that I see now, it's just greed, It's like, it's mine. More money. Money. And meanwhile, in order for, like, they're like, oh, the economy's up, and it's like 5 dudes traded one thing, and it's worth $10 billion, right? Meanwhile, homeless are still on the streets. The jobs still don't pay shit. People's mortgages are going under. Houses are getting foreclosed on. Cars are getting repoed. I've dealt with all that in the past year. Yeah, this machine loves to let people suffer. And just, fucking stop giving it power. You don't take any of this when you go. All we can do is leave the place better for the future generations. And that, make all education free. Right? Make sure everybody has clean access to water. They're able to eat. They got somewhere to lay their head down. Right? A universal basic income. That ensures that all the businesses stay afloat. All the restaurants. Because, honestly, after it's all said and done, if we're not actively killing if we're not killing each other, we're feeding each other. We're loving each other. We're spending time with each other. We're enjoying the planet. We're looking at the earth, There's always going to be a crisis out there. These earthquakes aren't going to stop. Volcanoes aren't going to stop. We don't need to have any more of this shit, but yet here we are. And you know what? Fuck it. When does it stop? For them, everyone got to be blonde hair, blue eyed, right? Is that what it's gonna be? China don't fucking care. China's ready for it. You know that, guys? China has figured out how to do their own governance. But that's their people. Americans are different. We got to figure out our own way to do it. How do we make a peace here in this capitalistic place? How do you make it? How do you make it so people can see eye to eye instead of judging one another? How do we change? Right? All top down, I think, is the best course. Because grassroots doesn't work for you fuckers. Because it's two-party, right? So then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, well, left versus rights. You goddamn liberals. Bullshit, stupid fucking nonsense. Yeah. You guys can't even agree that y'all fucking eat, shit, sleep, and drink. Can't even agree on that. Can't even agree that you don't want to get murdered. Maybe you guys need to have a national draft for national service. Doesn't have to be military. It can be if you want. But I think, honestly, we should just roll the whole fucking thing into one goddamn thing. Like Army Corps of Engineers. Put 200,000 people in that. Okay? Decentralize it all around the U.S. Oh, now we don't need a FEMA. I've seen what it looks like when America wants to move. Okay? I've seen major operations go down. I see what it looks like when we agree we got a target and we want to get it. Okay? And it doesn't have to be just murder. It's like, hey, we need to go find those fucking bodies floating around Kerrville. Boom. A few weeks later, we got it. Pulling trucks out of 20-foot deep mud, rocks, and gravel. We get it. We will get it done. We just have to, maybe we just need to be pushed in the right direction, right? And I think a 4-year national service, if I can fucking do it, with all my little tisms, if I can do it, suck it up and serve honorably, so can you. If I can do it in the Marine Corps, being a fat little loser from a liberal place, there's no fucking excuse. I got diabetes. All right, cool. We'll find something for you. I'm missing a leg. All right, cool. There's admin work. We need to make our teachers, first responders, police, firefighters, everyone should have all these skill sets. I struggled in school. Just always, always struggled. Marine Corps, I got that shit. Because it's amazing. When life and death is on the line, they will make sure you understand it. Because when the guy teaching you is counting on you to know this information so his ass doesn't fucking die in a combat situation, all of a sudden, we find the way to teach people. And we don't make it obtuse. We don't make it retarded. We don't word the questions intentionally difficult. All right. I don't know if anyone here has gotten an IT certification. God, I'm a smart dude. I can solve any tech problem. But dude, the way they word those questions, it's intentionally to fuck with me. I swear to God. And I cannot deal with that shit. And I'll fix any problem, guys. Technical or otherwise. We'll figure it out. You know? Because I have that tap into something beyond common sense. Beyond intuition. You know, it's that universal fucking knowledge. It's the same thing that shows me how these UAPs work. You know? When I speak to vibrating something made of platinum faster than the speed of light can travel in a nanometer or nanosecond, you know, distance of light in a nanosecond, because we hertz per second, right? If we can vibrate faster than light can exist, then we no longer exist in the dimension of light, and I'd imagine that's all darkness. Maybe it's not about leaving this place. Maybe we've already died. I know I've walked away from a lot of different things. Maybe the only way out of here is finding internal peace. Maybe that's why there is no peace. Because once we all are at peace, then the riddle is solved and we are free to go. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that what is occurring nowadays, it's like the dark is overpowering the light. It all started with Harambe. Lost a lot of people. Meanwhile, the craziest shit in the world is allowed to exist right beneath our fingertips. And we can see things, and even though they hide stuff, right? Like, one of my funnest things to look at is this fucking place. They call it Device Assembly Facility. One road in, one road out. And beyond that, you got a truck blocking the only way in and out. You got guard tower near. You got vehicles underneath those tents. And not only are the vehicles underneath those tents, but they are facing inboard. And those are turrets. And they are facing inboard. Not only do they have those vehicles facing inboard inside the perimeter, but they have vehicles on the outside of the perimeter also facing inboard. And they're all around the whole fucking joint. I don't know what that place is, man. But it really do be looking like they're trying to keep something fucking in there. And if I had to put my money on it, that looks like a prison for like superheroes or some shit. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll get the answers. Maybe it'll be open disclosure at that point. Or, I mean, if you remember that map I was talking about, a shit going underwater. I mean, that whole place will be under the ocean, right? Along with my little piece of nothing, which I hope to be too by the end of the month. It's a big, beautiful world out there, guys. Even though you got like places like freaking Dugway over here. And so you can tell where weird shit is because you got main roads and then there's like no roads at all. Nothing for a long time in the middle of nowhere. You got one road, kind of goes around zigzags. Lots of crazy shit. And supposedly there's real crazy shit up north of here. It's where they have all the chemical weapons and stuff. But it's like, dude, when does all the death end? Right? We have enough goods to end the world. When do we start living in peace? Start living for fun without all the obligation, right? People working 3 times as hard for a third the pay. The dollar goes a third the way. Retirement age keeps getting bumped up somehow. All right. Meanwhile, other nations are on 4-day work weeks. Like, why are we letting an 80-year-old fucking slave driver that fucking bankrupt casinos run the show right now? The whole thing's just ass backwards. It just makes no fucking sense to me. Unless I look at it from the view of they're planning on killing a lot of us off. I wouldn't say me. I think they're going to just... I think some bad shit's on the way. I think they know about it. I think they definitely know about it. But you guys, you know, whoever never watches this fucking show, right? I'm the only one that watches my own show at this point, but that's cool. One day I'm going to make it. No, probably not. Just obscurities. You know? I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Nowhere. Eventually I'll go dark. Just disappear off the face of the fucking earth. I mean, I tried, right? Is this me trying my best at, like, warning people to, like, try changing their course of action? Or is this just something that had me for a long time, even though I held on to this, and he just wants to see me fucking suffer trying to do this stupid shit? I don't know. I mean, what's the right thing to do, guys? Honestly, I just don't see any other way. Like, just make... Who gives a fuck if people are getting high all the fucking time? It's like, you guys are addicted to money, alright? Everyone's got addictions. Who gives a fuck? Your addiction should not be able to fuck over the whole world. Okay, that's a little bit too far. It's not just you, man. And if it bleeds, we can kill it. And that's just fact of the fucking matter. No, I'll leave it on this now, guys. This has been me talking to you guys. I wanted to talk about all the military-industrial complex, but dude, it's just endless wars. Boom, got it. It's endless wars, and they will keep the wars occurring. Okay, so, and Trump's uncle, you know, he's been at it for a long time. He's been dead for a while now. But if you think Trump's got the smarts for that, no. His uncle was probably the black sheep. Okay, Trump is, his whole family is the fucking normal cookie cutter fucking homies. Us black sheep, we got some intelligence about us. Something always gives us a wild hair up our asses. And, you know, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Right now, with the divisiveness in America, the change of power, right, globally, the concept of power, you know, and not equality. You know, why do you guys think, like, everyone coming together isn't at all part of the conversation? It's all about trade deals. I'm the best businessman that ever was. Ugh. Grab him by the pussy, dude. Alright, put that on that motherfucker's tombstone. I don't know. Nobody lives forever. And some of us, you know, I understand quiet sacrifice. But when do the lies stop? How does a country built on lies ever account? If the foundation is shoddy, you gotta shore it up. And the only way you shore it up is with accounting, alright? I'm not talking financially, because we all know that's bullshit. But speaking to it is how you account. If you want to restore integrity, which is the foundation of all things, you know, do what we say. You know what? Do what we say is such a pipe dream. Let's just talk about what we did, okay? Let's just be honest. All right? And that guy is not honest. None of them are. Maybe we have such high expectations for leadership that we forget that we're all human. Maybe people have been indoctrinated to see his face all the time, and they're just like, he's a businessman. America's not a business, it's people. People, if you think people are business, that's slave mentality. Because you're not a master. And I am nobody's slave. And I am nobody's master. I can't even master myself. Yeah, I have periods of it, but man, just being with my thoughts is quarrelsome enough. I don't know. If you made it this far, comment, tell me what you think. And have a fantastic night. Hope you're staying safe on this Saturday. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Take it easy.
Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.